Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Yassine, and when it comes to mobile photography, I think that the king of the crop, the at the top of the pinnacle, is always the Pixel phone, and this one right here in particular is the Google Pixel 3. So whenever I get a new phone and I'm going through the testing phase and just my review period, I always like to compare it to the Pixel 3 and see exactly how it stacks up against the cream of the crop. So recently I've been using the Honor View 20 and I'm almost wrapped up with my full review, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're interested in that video. But today I wanted to see how this camera compares to the Pixel 3's camera. Now I know these two phones are in complete two different categories when it comes to price point and what markets they're trying to get to, but at the end of the day I want to really see how good the camera is from a phone that recently came out to the phone that we all say is the king of mobile photography. So the Honor View 20 comes with two cameras in the back, and one of them is a 48 megapixel f1.2 as its main shooter, and the second camera isn't actually like the traditional wide angle or zoom lenses that other phones come with, but it's something that's called time of flight, which is actually used to collect depth information in photos, and it is also used for AR apps and games. And on the front, you have a 25 megapixel f2.0 for all your selfies. This has HDR capability and it'll record 1080p at 30 frames per second. And on the other hand, the Google Pixel is sticking with one camera as its main shooter, which is a 12.2 megapixel f1.8, and it's actually pretty wide, coming in at 28 millimeters. And in the front, we have two lenses. Both of them are 8 megapixels, but you have a standard one that comes in at f1.8 and a ultra wide that comes in at f2.2. It also does auto HDR and it'll record videos 1080p at 30 frames per second. In the first picture, you'll see that both of these cameras do a really good job, but the Honor View 20 picture just seems a little bit brighter, and if you just take a quick glance at it, it almost looks like it's much better. But when you look at the picture that comes out of the Pixel, you can see that there's a lot more contrast and a lot more saturation. The colors just pop more, and there's just more contrast between the highlights and the shadows. And that's something that I noticed throughout this whole testing of these two phones. One other thing I do want to point out is the color shift when it comes to the white balance. On the Honor View, if you look at the left side where the white brick is, it's got more of a blue tint to it, where on the Pixel it looks natural and looks like it's just regular white. Here's another picture, and this one was outdoors. It was an overcast day. There wasn't any sun out, which is actually ideal for taking pictures. But once again, you can see that the contrast levels on the Honor View 20 are just not there, and there's more contrast and more saturation from the Pixel picture. And if we zoom in on this picture, you'll see that on the building on the Pixel, it's very sharp. You can see a lot more details and the color is there. And even on that stop sign, the color just seems like it's punchier there and the contrasts are a lot higher. And the Honor View 20 picture just gives out like more of a bland, washed out look. Moving on, this is a picture that was taken indoors, but there's a giant window on the left-hand side that is bringing in a lot of daylight. And you can really see that the Honor View 20 camera fell apart in this picture. And that's because it has a hard time with dynamic range. On the left-hand side of this picture, it's really bright, but then on the right-hand side, it's not so bright. And on the Honor View, you can see that it has a hard time adjusting, and as you move along from the left-hand side of this picture to the right-hand side, adjusting that gradients of the change in lighting. But the Pixel does a really good job keeping all the colors as saturated and keeping all the details in the brick wall. Also, the last thing I want to touch on in this picture is just the details. If we zoom in, you'll be able to see that there's a lot more details in those clocks on the wall, and you could actually make out some of it on the Pixel phone. And on the Honor View 20, those details are just lacking. So here's another picture where the Honor View 20 actually did a really good job, and when you look at both of these pictures, they look really good. Sharpness is there, the saturation is almost similar, but the reason I wanted to show you guys this picture is if you look at the light bulb in the top left corner, you can see that the Honor View 20 has a hard time keeping the highlights under control, and it blows out the light bulbs. You can't make out whether it's 1, 2, or 3, where on the Pixel, it does a better job of maintaining the highlights and showing you that each bulb is an individual bulb, and that just shows the HDR capability of both of these cameras. And now we got some low light pictures. And in here, you'll see that on the Pixel phone, the dark areas and the black areas are just darker, and the saturation is a lot better compared to the Honor View 20. The Honor View 20 makes the dark areas brighter, like those gentlemen standing in the middle bottom portion of the picture. You can make out those guys in the Honor View 20 better, but it's not realistic because it was a really dark area. Also, if you look at the light on the bottom left corner, you'll see that the Pixel kept that light under control, and you can make out details of that light, where on the Honor View 20 it just looks like it's overblown, and even the second light looks like it's overblown. And that's just what I've noticed in my testing period, that the Honor View 20 really has hard time with dynamic range, keeping the highlights under control while exposing for the shadows, but the Pixel seems to do an excellent job when it comes to that. And here's another night picture from the same area that I was at, and the only thing that I want to point out in this picture is the blue tint that the Honor View has. If you look to the left of the picture, you'll see that it has a blue tint to it, and that is something that I've noticed a lot in the Honor View 20's camera, that it just tends to be a little cooler in compared to the Pixel camera. Where the Pixel camera keeps a warmer, more natural picture, the Honor View 20 tends to make things a little cooler. So there we have it. As you can see, the Honor View 20 has a good camera, and if you're just worried about taking pictures for Instagram or for Twitter, then I think it's good enough for those things, because they are going through their algorithm and they are going through the compression, so they come out looking good. But if you do what we did today, where we compare them side by side and we zoom in and pixel peep, then you can see that the Pixel 3 has a better camera overall than the Honor View 20. But I just wanted to do that comparison to see which one stands out. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If it's your first time here to my channel, then definitely consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, stay plugged.